We felt like we were in the Philippines tonight and not in Abu Dhabi, so now I think you can definitely say a word to your fans.
Magandang gabi, mga kababayan. Magandang gabi, Abu Dhabi.
Eala just stepped onto Stadium Court in Abu Dhabi, and the atmosphere was absolutely incredible. Thousands of fans were screaming her name. The stadium was completely packed, and the energy in the building was electric. But what made this moment particularly challenging was who she had to face across the net. Standing there was her best friend, her former doubles partner, someone she had traveled the world with and shared countless memories with through all the ups and downs of professional tennis. They had probably cried together, laughed together, and supported each other through everything. And now Alex had to go out there and try to beat her. This is the kind of mental challenge that most 20-year-olds simply cannot handle. The emotional complexity of competing against someone you genuinely care about while thousands of people watch is something most of us cannot even begin to comprehend. But what Alex did in that match is exactly why this Filipino phenomenon is about to become a serious problem for everyone on the WTA Tour. Before we dive deeper into this incredible story, if you love tennis and want to follow the rise of amazing young players like Eala, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Your support means everything and helps us bring you more great tennis content. Let me explain why this particular match was so much more than just another first-round victory. Alex walked onto the court at the Zed Sports City International Tennis Center in Abu Dhabi to face Zeynep Sonmez, but the circumstances made this encounter uniquely difficult. This was not just any opponent in a first-round match. This was someone Alex had played doubles with, someone she considered a genuine friend. Imagine having to compete at the highest level against someone you truly care about, someone you have trained with, traveled with, and probably shared meals and inside jokes with during your time on tour together. The mental gymnastics required to separate friendship from competition is something most people never have to deal with in their entire lives. Yet Alex walked into that stadium completely ready to handle her business and do what needed to be done. The crowd that day was absolutely remarkable. The stadium was filled to capacity for what was the final match of the day, and the atmosphere was buzzing with excitement. Filipino fans had probably booked their flights the moment they heard Alex was going to be playing in Abu Dhabi. Turkish fans were there in strong numbers to support Zeynep as well. Both of these young players have developed incredibly loyal and vocal fan bases during their time on the professional tour, which speaks volumes about their personalities and the way they conduct themselves both on and off the court. But if we are being completely honest, the Filipino fans were clearly the majority in that building, and you could feel their passion and support radiating throughout the entire venue. The energy must have been absolutely incredible to experience in person. Before we even get into the details of the match itself, it is important to understand the history between these two competitors. This was actually the third time that Alex and Zeynep had faced each other in professional competition, and Alex came into this match with a perfect 2 wins and 0 losses record against her friend. The first time they met was back in 2023 at the ITF W60 NG Open in France, where Alex won with scores of 7-6 and 6-4 in the quarterfinals. That first set was extremely tight and went all the way to a tiebreak, which shows just how competitive their matches tend to be. The second time they faced each other was in 2025 at the Lexus Eastbourne Open qualifiers, and that match was a completely different story. Alex absolutely dominated that encounter, winning 6-1 and 6-3 with almost no resistance. It was a commanding performance that showed just how much Alex's game had developed. So Zeynep knew exactly what she was up against walking into this match. She knew that Alex had her number and that beating her would require something special. But what makes this matchup even more fascinating is that both of these players hit career-high rankings during this exact same week. Alex reached world number 45, while Zeynep climbed to world number 79. They are both young, hungry, and on the rise. They both want success desperately and are working incredibly hard to achieve their dreams. Additionally, Zeynep was coming into this match with serious momentum from the Australian Open, where she made it to the third round and became the first Turkish woman ever to win a match at the Australian Open. She also defeated world number 11 Daria Kasatkina along the way, which was a massive accomplishment. So this was definitely not a pushover opponent or someone Alex could take lightly. This was a player with confidence, momentum, and absolutely nothing to lose. When the match started, Alex came out swinging with aggressive intent. She broke serve early and jumped out to a 3-1 lead, and it looked like she was going to take control of the match from the very beginning. Watching it unfold, you could see that Alex was dictating play, and that this seemed like her match to lose if she could just maintain her level. But Zeynep is a fighter, and she was not going to fold that easily. That is simply not who she is as a competitor. She clawed her way back into the set and managed to break Alex's serve in the 5th game to level the score at 3 games all. Suddenly, the tension in the stadium started building because the set was back on serve and absolutely anything could happen at that point. This is where Alex demonstrated exactly why she is so special as a young player. She did not panic when things got tight, she did not let the pressure get to her or start playing tentative tennis. Instead, she regained her composure, refocused her energy, and surged ahead to a 5-3 lead. Now she was serving for the set, just 1 game away from taking the opening frame. But then she got broken again, and Zeynep fought back to make it 5-4. The pressure was back on Alex in a major way. This is the moment where champions reveal themselves and where mental toughness matters far more than pure talent or physical ability. Alex stepped up when it mattered most, broke Zeynep's serve for the 3rd time in the set, and closed it out 6-4. That is what we call clutch performance. That is ice-cold composure under extreme pressure. If you're a fan of Alex, like so many people around the world are, you were probably screaming at your screen during those tense moments, because that is exactly the kind of mental grit and determination that wins championships at the highest levels of the sport.
The second set started, and Alex was completely dialed in and laser-focused on finishing the job. She raced out to a 3-love lead, and it seemed like the match was essentially over and that she had complete control. But once again, Zeynep showed her fighting spirit and competitive fire. She is not the type of player who will simply roll over and accept defeat without giving everything she has. She battled back to make it 3-2, forcing Alex to work extremely hard for every single point. You absolutely have to respect that kind of determination and competitiveness. That is exactly the kind of spirit that makes women's tennis so incredibly exciting and compelling to watch right now. But Alex was not going to let this match slip away. She shut the door decisively by winning 3 of the next 4 games and closed out the match 6-3 in the second set. The total match time was 1 hour and 31 minutes, which for a straight sets victory shows just how competitive and intense the battle was. The statistic that really tells the complete story of this match is that Alex converted 6 breaks of serve out of 9 service games. That is an absolutely remarkable conversion rate. She was relentless on return, constantly hunting and attacking, making Zeynep uncomfortable every single time she stepped up to serve. That kind of performance is not just luck or having a fortunate day where everything goes your way. That is elite-level tennis. That is reading your opponent's serve patterns, anticipating where the ball is going to land, and executing your return with precision and power. At just 20 years old, Alex is already playing chess while many of her competitors are still playing checkers. She is thinking multiple shots ahead and understanding the tactical nuances of the game at a level that usually takes years more experience to develop. What I love most about Alex as both a player and a person is what happened after the match concluded. After beating her friend in front of a packed stadium with thousands of fans watching and all that pressure on her shoulders, she could have easily just done the standard post-match interview where she says she played well and is happy to get the win before moving on to prepare for the next round. But that is simply not who Alex is as a person. Listen to what she said in her post-match interview. "I'm so honored to share the court with one of my closest friends, Zeynep. I admire her so much, and she's really making waves in many ways, and our friendship goes beyond tennis, and I'm so grateful for that." That statement right there is pure class. She just handed her friend a loss in a very important match, and she is still showing nothing but love, respect, and genuine admiration. That is the kind of sportsmanship that makes you proud to be a fan of someone. That is the kind of person you want representing your country, your sport, and your generation on the world stage. This is why Alex is not just a great tennis player, but also a genuinely great person. In a world where so many athletes across all sports are focused primarily or exclusively on themselves and their own success, that kind of humility and genuine appreciation for opponents is rare and incredibly special. With this victory, Alex earned a two-place jump in the live WTA rankings and is now sitting at world number 43, creeping closer and closer to breaking into that prestigious top 40. But honestly, the top 40 is really just a checkpoint on her journey. This young woman's ceiling is way, way higher than that. Think about it for a moment. She is only 20 years old. Most professional tennis players do not reach their peak performance until they are in their mid-20s. Alex has literally years of development still ahead of her, years of getting physically stronger, faster, smarter about tactics and strategy, and gaining more experience in pressure situations. And she is already competing with and beating players who are ranked in the top 50, top 40, and even occasionally the top 20 on her best days. The trajectory of her career is absolutely insane when you really stop and think about it. Earlier this year at the Australian Open, Alex made her Grand Slam main draw debut and drew an absolutely massive crowd. They actually reported that there was an insane queue forming at Court 6 because Filipino fans showed up in such enormous numbers to support their young star. The match itself did not go the way she hoped as she lost to Alicia Parks in the first round, but the fact that she is already generating that kind of passionate fan support and creating that kind of energy and excitement around her matches tells you something extremely important. People do not just support great players who win matches, they support players who make them feel something deep and meaningful. And Alex makes people feel proud, inspired, and hopeful about what is possible. That is what a superstar in the making looks like. Alex now moves forward to the second round of the tournament, where she will face Alexandra Sosnovic of Belarus, and this is going to be a very challenging match. Sosnovic is 31 years old, which means she has more than a decade of professional experience and wisdom compared to Alex. She actually came into the main draw as a lucky loser after another player withdrew from the tournament. But do not let that circumstance fool you into thinking this will be an easy match. This woman just pulled off a stunning upset victory over 8th seed Paula Badosa, who is a former world number 2 and one of the most dangerous and talented players on the entire tour. Sosnovic is crafty, experienced, and knows exactly how to construct winning strategies and execute them under pressure. But here's the thing about Alex that makes her so dangerous. She absolutely thrives when she is playing as the underdog. She thrives when people doubt her abilities or don't give her proper respect. And after the confidence boost she will get from this first-round victory, after breaking serves 6 times and playing some of her best and most aggressive tennis, I would definitely not bet against her in that match. Alex also has doubles competition coming up at this tournament. She and Indonesian player Janice Chen are going to take on Leylah Fernandez and Jelena Ostapovic. Fernandez is a French Open doubles finalist with tremendous talent. Ostapovic is a 6-time Grand Slam champion in doubles with an incredible wealth of experience at the highest levels. That is an absolute gauntlet of a matchup against world-class opponents. But once again, Alex does not shy away from difficult challenges or tough competition. She runs straight towards them with confidence and determination.
Let's have a real and honest conversation for a moment about why Alex Eala matters beyond simply being a very good tennis player. She is representing the Philippines on the biggest stages in world tennis. She is inspiring an entire generation of young Filipino children to pick up a tennis racket and dream big about what they might accomplish. She is proving definitively that you do not have to be from the traditional tennis powerhouses like the United States, various European countries, or Australia to make it all the way to the top of the sport. When she steps onto the court at any tournament, she is carrying the hopes and dreams of millions of people on her shoulders. And instead of crumbling under that enormous weight of pressure and expectation, she absolutely thrives in it. She feeds off that energy and uses it as fuel to elevate her performance. That Filipino crowd in Abu Dhabi was not just providing support and encouragement, they were literally giving her fuel and energy to perform at her highest level. The way Alex conducts herself with such obvious humility, grace, and respect for her opponents is setting an incredible example for every young athlete who is watching and learning from her. You can be fiercely competitive while also being kind. You can be aggressive and intense on the court while still being friendly and gracious off it. You can win matches with class and dignity, and you can also lose with that same grace and dignity. That is the Alex brand and what she represents. And honestly, the entire tennis world is genuinely better because she is in it and representing the sport with such excellence. Here is my bold prediction, and you can come back to this later and either criticize me for being wrong or celebrate me as a genius. Alex Eala is going to break into the top 30 in the world rankings by the end of this year, and she might even climb higher than that. Why am I so confident in making this prediction? Because she has the complete game, with weapons in all areas. She has the mental strength and fortitude to handle pressure situations. She has an incredible work ethic and dedication to constant improvement. And perhaps most importantly, she has genuine belief in herself and her abilities. You can see it clearly in the way she plays and competes. She is not hoping to win matches, she is expecting to win them. That kind of confidence and swagger cannot be taught or trained. It comes from deep within. Just look at what her resume already includes at such a young age. She is a Grand Slam junior champion, having won the US Open girls singles title. She is also an Australian Open girls doubles champion. She has been winning at literally every single level where she has competed throughout her entire career. Now she is competing full-time on the main professional tour, and it is only a matter of time before she starts making deep runs at major tournaments and really announcing herself as a force to be reckoned with. Alex Eala is going to be truly great, and we are all lucky to be watching the beginning of what promises to be an absolutely remarkable career.